Pose. Pose.
What's up, my disciples? Jesus Christ, guys.
A few moments later.
What's up, my disciples of darkness, and welcome to Sith Happens, the Star Wars podcast. I am Eric the Dadalorian, joined by my two mischief makers who, at the same time of wanting to kill them, and I don't know what I would do without them, it is my boy Ant and Matty Ice, otherwise known as I am Not a Committee, and Blexer's Daily Desk on Instagram. How you doing, my brothers?
Somewhere along the line, we became children.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say.
I don't think we ever grew up. Listen, we collect toys and we watch and we talk about Star Wars. We never grew up. Let's just get that straight.
True.
If you kill me, I'm gonna become a Force ghost and just haunt you, dude. So that's my.
We need to find out who would the Star Wars equivalent to Peter Pan be.
I couldn't tell you, but I could tell you this much.
We might find out in this episode that we're going to talk about here in just a brief minute.
Oh, is that your move?
I'm doing great.
Yes. So,
he's doing fantastic.
I'm doing wonderful at this point.
Yes. And we are all doing great because we were all just catching up here quickly before we started shooting episode 3 of Skeleton Crew, guys. And let me just tell you, I love this fucking series.
It's so good.
I love this series so much.
2 thumbs up.
4 thumbs up.
Yeah, all the thumbs. I can't see it. There you go.
There we go.
6 thumbs up.
Wow, this was
This is why
so like almost like a Paul and Krell right there.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, dude, this episode was so freaking good. It hit for me. Like I think for the last 2 episodes of the premiere, I kind of was a little bit more critical because I knew episodes like this were going to come along where I just loved it so much more than the original one did personally. And like this just absolutely blew my mind. It hit all the notes. It was mysterious. It was fun. It had good action, and it brought in a bunch of good Easter eggs, which we're going to talk about all of them, obviously.
Yeah.
But before we dive too deep into it, guys, per usual, this is your spoiler warning.
Woo. I have a good Easter egg too when we get to
I almost went right ahead with
this one. And you know what? When we were on Port Borgo, I kind of thought we were going to get a lot of them. I just had that kind of vibe, like we were going to see a lot of things in the background, like kind of surprise us there, and I freaking loved it. This episode, I'm usually a little bit more critical than you guys sometimes, just because I want to save my high scores for the really special episodes. This one blew my mind. I cannot say it enough.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the
I
biggest
agree, and
Easter egg.
I'm gonna really rely on you guys for the Easter eggs.
Yeah, biggest Easter egg, funniest Easter egg, and maybe funniest moment in Star Wars was the battle droid waking up and going,
"Did we win?"
Yeah.
I audibly LOL'd on that one. Yeah, and I gotta tell you,
LOL'd a lot.
I'm glad it was there. It was cool.
And that's why I texted you, Matt. I was just like, I actually LOL'd.
Yeah. You know what else I LOL'd at really hard? These are really strong fuel lines. Like when he's trying to pull away, these are strong fuel lines.
Yeah.
However he said it.
They must have a lot of thievery going on there with their fuel.
Yeah, it's like
dude, it's
almost like they're pirates.
Yeah, it was just so packed full of good comedy, man. Like honestly, for in this episode, it was either great action or I was laughing like crazy because there was so much of it. And another Easter egg, which I don't know if you guys had caught it, and it was right about the time with the battle droid, which. Battle droid's my favorite, unquestioned.
I know.
The other droid he switched on, is this the Prince's Palace? I think that's a line drop for Zizor.
Oh, maybe that would
so
be.
I am
awesome.
not 100% sure on that, but that was
the
first thing that came to mind because of today's drops for Gift the Galaxy, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good call. I think
because I don't really know many other I can't think of many other, princes that are mainline in Star Wars that they would reference like that,
right.
unless they just threw it in there for shits and giggles.
I mean, they might have. It was pretty funny, but I liked your Prince Shizor.
Yeah, no, I also
cool. I'll go for an answer. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying it's a cool thought. Hello,
hi, I'm here. I also thought the Crimson Jack thing is really cool, and it rang a bell to me. And there was a comic a couple of years ago that's canon during I think it was called the Halicon heist or the Halicon battle something that was in, it was takes place during Resistance New Order. First Order. No punk emo post punk tonight. The First Order Resistance fighting.
When I was.
And it was Crimson Jack is a pirate in that.
Yes.
It's like a part of the battle. So that was I was immediately interesting. And the reason why I found that out, sounds like you guys knew beforehand, is because there is a character in Force Awakens who's one of the pirates that Finn almost goes with, named the Crimson Corsair. So, but those are different characters entirely. But so that was why I went to look it up. But that's another great, maybe we find out that Silvo, Jod, Crimson Jack.
Yeah,
And we did get that confirmation that he is Silvo. It was all the speculation up to this point. It was pretty good speculation. I think we all freaking knew it at that point.
Yeah.
But it did confirm it was Silvo. So I'm hoping for that Black Series helmet.
the Halcyon or Helicon Legacy, a 2022 comic book miniseries tied into the Galactic Star Cruiser at Disney.
Oh,
wow.
Okay, gotcha.
Interesting. Good to know.
Fair enough.
Definitely worth it. Definitely worth. I might try to read that tonight.
So that takes place between The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. So one thing, if they're gonna stick to stories that could be, is that he doesn't die.
Yeah. But going through this episode though, every piece of it was great. So the escape from jail was great. He sensed them, and then the droid coming along and this dude has the Force. Cool about that you could tell it.
Is that he just when he basically just told them, he was very truthful with them in revealing. Yeah. That's in that situation in the hallway.
He's definitely Force trained. And what I also liked about it was there's a little bit, the whole thing, and you guys know I love this, there's a little bit of it's like Captain Jack Sparrow meets Han Solo. But when, KB's there's something, and then Fern's does she have the Force? And he's the Force flows through all of us. Or it's the way he's cavalier, he's very much... He can use the Force, but how did he learn? How did he lose it? And it's something that's really interesting that I sent you guys with regard to that is if it's very accessible on IMDb, there is a character who says Jedi Knight. It's a female character. I forget her first name, and it says Nana Wood is her last name. So it could be that she got a sex change. No, I'm kidding. I just want to piss off all the fans. It's
we already know
could
the
be a
fandom
sister.
Menace is going to be out in full force from that introduction scene.
That could be a sister. What if that was a wife and he left the Jedi Order for love? Unlikely. But I think that it could be a sister. Maybe he escaped her in Order 66. Maybe his Force powers are really I can just lift shit. He never quite got to go to Jedi training, but his sister did. I think we're going to get a lot of his backstory. And I think
perhaps
that
he chose not to. He went
less.
ruthless. He's he basically rebelled and became a pirate when she took the Jedi Order route and became a Jedi.
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I like that.
There's a lot of ways it can go, honestly, because I think, Matt, you sent us something today on that comic, and I cannot remember for the life of me. I'll have to pull it up later. But I think there was something...
Ann sent it.
Okay, sorry. Anthony sent it. And I think there was something in there about, him having, Crimson Jack having, relatives. I can't remember for sure. I'm going to have to go back and check it out. But that would tie in all with that.
What it said at the end of that article was that they basically were saying, questioning the Jod name, and could it be it survives for decades because of what the article references is perhaps Crimson Jack is like the Princess Bride's dread pirate robber. It's a name shared by a long line of pirates type thing. So that could be a plausible thought too. He's just using the name.
I completely did not get to read the thing you said, Ant, so I am sorry for stealing your thunder on that.
I took a quick glance at it today too, man. A busy day,
I'm kind of upset that I saw it when I did, and I had to apologize to my brother because I sent it out, and he was literally hours ago.
He does not like that.
He didn't mind that I sent it to him, but he was like, oh, no, that's cool. I wish I would have found that out, after the show. And then, 4 hours later, there's an episode about it. I'm like,
you got to send the spoiler hub picture to him every time.
Yeah, my bad.
But yeah, going through this episode though, man, like the whole prison escape scene was great. The breaking out from Port Borgo with the hyperspace and everything was really great, and how it like just wrecks the port there, and it makes sense from the trailer now, because Brutus puts a bounty on all their heads. So that line from the trailer, there's a band of bounty hunters after us. So now we know why they changed it from pirates to bounty hunters.
They got the hooks.
Yeah, I very much dug that he got caught, Doug, like Sibulba. I like that he got very much dug that he got caught, and then you didn't see how he actually escaped, and it just cuts to him being shot at, flying away.
I dug
flying
that a
towards
lot.
the ship, and I love that. It's like that spirit of adventure. Like, you sort of don't need to see what he did to get out of there. It's a very funny, adventurous cut that it's like, like, I don't know, there's a Lego Star Wars that had Han Solo, and he's walking into a room, and they're like, you're going to just walk in like that? He's like, they don't even know we're here. And he walks through a doorway, and then the doorway opens 10 seconds later, and he runs out, and there's blaster bolts going by him, and he's like, they know we're here. But like, that's the spirit of this. Like, it's kind of like, and then the next thing you see, like, I love that.
Yeah, the way they started it though, like that whole little battle scene was great, because you got the kids in the ship just messing around. You just start seeing laser shots in the background and stuff, and you're just like, what the hell? And then it's like, oh, I know what's happening now.
Yeah, you know, that was just funny, but I didn't notice it. So I was focused on the kids, but I noticed it the second time when they were talking, was happening behind them, and it was just so cool. And I mean, even when he woke up, SM-33, and he's like, "What's it? Who's asking?" or whatever. Yeah. He's like, "I," and then he leaves the room and he comes back and goes, "I." Like,
I won't repeat myself. I
what was that?
Myself. Yeah, it's like that. Yeah,
and you did call the jacket from the dead pirate on him. I will say that you did call that really well.
I was sitting there like,
but yeah,
Matt,
I thought the same thing while we were watching it. Nope, go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was just gonna say, and then jumping into like where they landed for that satellite planet. I don't know what the hell you call it.
Whatever.
Super cool. Firstly,
I
don't recall seeing much like that.
This our little owl alien there. Oh wait, I'm just really excited about it.
Yeah, I want to talk. Yeah, well, the owl alien. I feel like we can talk.
Smallest Black Series action figure ever.
It was yeah. I know, right. Full price. I just want to hold on one second. I have to look.
We thought we had that with the one from Acolyte. What was his name?
Basil.
Basil.
Oh yeah,
Basil's now introducing an even smaller.
Yeah.
So David Lowery directed this episode, who did The Green Knight. And when you watch them walking on the moon, the silhouette, which has been used in a lot of the pictures, is gorgeous. That shot of them walking through the moon. And like I told you guys, The Green Knight looks insanely good. So I really appreciated that it still had the rules of a Star Wars show, but everything that happened on that moon just looked beautiful. And can we talk about the movie quality effects and the outdoor there? We'll talk about how we get to the space chase. The money here is on screen in every single scene. Like, this looks better.
Well, this goes back to they were going to make it a movie.
Yeah, it's fair.
Because it was, I think you told me about it actually, that it was pitched as a movie. And as we're watching this, I feel like I'm watching a movie. Is the thing. I just feel like I'm watching a movie broken up. I love how they're doing it. Firstly, the way they break it up,
really well.
Absolutely, it's like different chapters in a book. Honestly, it flows very, very well. But it is absolutely movie quality.
Yep, Ant, it's your moment. Let us have it. You talk about Kim.
Oh yeah, so
you're ready to do it.
This our little friend. What's the name? I didn't even catch your name. I was so excited.
Kim.
I'm like,
Kim, but it's like KH apostrophe YYM.
Apostrophe YYM.
Wouldn't it be? It's fantastic. Kim, we love you. If we could just take a moment to praise Kim. And everybody was sitting here like, Neil is going to be our new favorite little Grogu. And no, Kim is here. Kim is an owl.
Maybe for you.
No, maybe for you. Maybe for you.
Yeah. How quickly we drop Neil, and
absolutely not.
Do you watch that every Tuesday morning?
I wear this every Tuesday.
No, he wears that every day.
The Kim also spinning her head like an owl, like full spin to look at Jod when she's looking at the kids. Like, again, the comedy in this It is some of the funniest Star Wars has intentionally been ever.
Yeah, and it's not like weird forced funny. No,
not
intended
at all.
with forced.
And I'll tell you, at that satellite planet too, like or whatever the satellite facility, when she brought out the map of the treasure worlds or whatever you want to call it, that map had total Mortis mural vibes to it. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Absolutely. No, you're 100% right, and I think that's what we were talking about. Like, this is definitely like old Republic, and I love that.
Yeah.
Like, even what we talked about, their hidden society, when he says Alderaan, and then she goes, "Oh, you missed the war." Like, you know what I mean? Like, or you missed a lot, is what she said.
Yeah.
Like, I guess you didn't know about the war or something. However she framed it, like, this is, and they gave you a little more of the mystery this episode,
and it
They're
makes
not
you wonder
wasting
how
time.
much they have missed.
Yeah.
Like
Little
Clone Wars,
tidbits.
I feel like is a given.
Everything.
Galactic
Yeah.
Civil War is a given. It begs the question, like, especially with how old that map looks, like, have they missed everything back to like the great Galactic War in the Old Republic and stuff? Because like,
I think maybe.
it's a
Because
plausibility.
those planets
because-
were destroyed. So the other
Yeah.
planets. So yeah.
And honestly,
I,
the treasure planets, like at that point, you could be talking about like the stuff that you get from the Knights of the Old Republic. With I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but Revan goes to find this thing where it like builds him his fleet and everything like that. Like maybe that was one of the planets and everything, like because it's treasure in a way, so to say. But honestly, like when they brought it out, it was like these dudes have been hidden for a long time.
What I think could be interesting, and this is, by the way, a preposterous reach, but James
That's what we
Mangold's upcoming Dawn of the Jedi stuff, it would be interesting if the treasure in some way was tied to that.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, like, because there's a lot of stuff that they're trying to connect everything, and if you really go back to, and I can't recommend reading the Dawn of the Jedi series. It's like the last comic that came out before Disney, like got rid of Dark Horse. There's a lot about like where the Force came from, and like there is sort of the Mortis ship involved in that, and but like I think it's interesting, like you said, that shades of Mortis, what's being hidden. How far back does this go? Like you guys are saying, it might be before the Great War. There is so much opportunity here, and like I also kind of loved that they were figuring out their parents do something with money. Everybody's counting something.
Yeah,
like and I think that when they go
something
to the magistrate,
boring.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, the Wim's dad is about to do some OG stuff, man. Like that man had like Aunt and me as fathers, we know that look.
yeah.
Like that's a man who's about to do something radical, and I love that. He's like, I'm really gonna love the character arc he gets. I think because he went from like the corporate America dad to all right, let's run and gun, get these kids type of thing, and I cannot wait to. I like it's kind of so stupid to think like I'm excited for the arc of such a background character, but it's gonna be really good. I think.
Awesome. Well, I think
that is really
you know who
cool.
He is?
No.
What, Matt?
He is the lead singer of TV on the Radio, which is like an amazing band. I didn't pick that up till like.
I did not know that.
Yeah, go for it with the dad. But yeah, that was an Easter egg.
No, I was just gonna say I think it speaks to the quality of the storytelling of the show that like you're like, what's going on with that? And that's really nothing to do with what we're here for, but you're still intrigued because it's well done.
And I think that's something that we can all take away from this so far is after only 3 episodes, the storytelling is phenomenal. Like absolutely phenomenal. Like I think especially coming from where we did with Acolyte,
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, like there was things in Acolyte that like, especially me and Matt had some issues with the storytelling. There's not one piece of it where I'm just like I didn't like it. No doubt, and it was a darker show. That was the thing. It was a much darker show. This is a much more lighthearted, like I want to say kid show, but it's just much more lighthearted. But the storytelling behind it is so much better, in my opinion. And I liked Acolyte. Don't get me wrong. There's episodes I didn't like.
Just with the vibe of like the weight of the show being much lighter, which it is. I was gonna say it earlier and I didn't, but let's go back to that hallway scene where we skip ahead to when he escapes going back to the ship. One thing I was kind of thinking is because that is kind of the vibe of the show. Like in my head, like he got rid of him. He got rid of that pirate. And
absolutely, yeah. You don't really know what he did, and I think that's true.
But we don't need to see that because that's not the vibe of this show. an execution
Yeah,
of,
undoubtedly,
call.
yeah. So.
Very good
and
call.
that's where my brain went, but I was just like, man, nah, you're overthinking it.
No, I think you may be
Yeah.
right, and I think a part of it is it's up to your imagination what he did,
Yeah.
because he's a mystery and you don't know what his shtick is yet. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're thinking he's more evil, he killed that guy. If you're thinking he's more sort of a rogue, he might have shot his way out. It was sort of like knock that guy out, push the cart really hard. There was like some funny hijinks. You don't need to see it because it allows you to project who you think the character is onto what that escape looked like, which is something that I really like about it. And
that's where I went with it personally too. Like I went where he was like, I don't think he like iced this dude or nothing like that. But like I told you guys before, I get a total Tim Curry Muppet Treasure Island vibe from this guy, because he's just got like a charisma to him, and like he's bad, but he's not all bad. So like I think it's gonna something along that line.
He's a scoundrel.
Anyways, yeah, exactly.
No,
He's a scoundrel. He's like one thing that I thought was cool is when they talk about going to the magistrate or whatever, about talking to the Republic.
Yes.
And that's,
Per usual, the
referring to
government doesn't do anything.
No, they're referring to the Republic.
Yeah, I know.
Not the High Republic. But what I was thinking was, for us, that's such a cool, mysterious Easter egg. Like, oh shit, they had the credits, they had this. But what I really like about the show is you don't have to know anything about Star Wars to enjoy these Easter eggs. Even the battle droid thing is kind of funny in general, even if you don't know that's a battle droid. And I think that's the thing that I would say sums up my feelings about this is it for people that I think maybe never watched Star Wars, their kids want to watch this or want to show this to their kids, and Star Wars felt a little bit too deep or like hard for their kids to get into.
Yeah.
This is the opportunity, and it really just works on a level of feels like Star Wars, also feels like a pirate movie, space opera, space adventure, daring escapes, comedy. It is the most accessible thing they've done ever, to be totally honest with you. Like, ever.
Undoubtedly.
And I think that's really what's great about it.
And that last scene too, like I think Matt, we were talking about it, and I think you were still finishing the show, where they escape from Kim's little satellite facility there, and they got the turrets up on the ship. Dude, if they do not make that into a Disney ride, I am going to sue someone.
Yeah, same, 100%.
Like I saw that and I was like, I want one. I want that.
Yeah.
Someone
Well,
get
the
this
turret
man.
thing is great. Speaking of
And
the
it had
Easter egg,
total A New Hope vibes to it.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. You know what the best part was? Instead of shooting at TIE fighters, they were shooting at X-Wings. And I think that's what made it so cool, was it flipped it on its head. But it's the magic, and I love that Fern's a little like, what do I do? And then he opens it, and like, whim hops in, like just immediately like ready for adventure. Like the difference in acting with the kids. I've got a lot of my friends have liked everything in the show but Whim. We could talk about that next week, because I know we've got a lot of ground to cover after this. But I think
Whim
that's
is,
an interesting feeling.
Which one?
The
the main
curly-haired kid.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't like him?
Yeah, they feel like
He's gotten a
annoying.
little bit of hate online, and I think it's just because it's like super lighthearted, you know. He's just like happy-go-lucky, adventurous type thing, which, I mean, he's like 8 years
He's the
old. Who
youngest
wasn't
one,
at that age? He's playing an 8-year-old.
I
Yeah.
think they think of him as the trouble. I think like Neil has that goofy naivety or naivete, however you say it. You know, he
Bruna!
has that goofy, he's the goofiness and innocence, and Wim is just like a little annoying, and like he's the trouble. Like but like
He's
to
the
me,
younger
he propels
brother,
the plot.
is what he is.
Yeah,
He's the younger brother.
But he
Little bit.
propels the plot. Yeah, and like he propels the plot, and that's another thing I'll say. Everything they've done so far is in service to moving the story forward.
Yes.
100%. And I know that Acolyte, they did that too, but Acolyte, you had like episodes where you're like, did you just have to write 8 episodes, so you cut this in the middle, like episodes?
I think,
you know, like 4 and 5 of Acolyte, or like, you know, so like to me, if this keeps it up, you have the highest quality storytelling they're doing. It's funny and it's great writing, and if they just keep everything moves the plot forward, then they've nailed this. I mean, it feels like I'm reading a book, and I'm just waiting for the next. If I can only stay up to watch the next chapter, read the next chapter. I mean, we'll watch it, read it, whatever.
I will
Have
say
subtitles on
something.
TV.
Yeah, and I will say something too that I really like the attention to detail in this episode, and I don't know if you guys caught it, is when the X-Wings landed at the facility after they were done and stuff. They did not, and because they shot ion blasters at the ship, and they had different blasters on the upper wings and the lower wings, which shows like just attention to detail how it's not just the standard red blaster ones, it's also the ion ones to disable the ship, and it's something small, but attention to detail like that is something I super appreciate inside of in storytelling.
Yeah, and it's interesting that they're trying to arrest him, and she keeps saying, "I want to help him," like Crimson Jack. Jod, like that's what Kim said, or Kim, that's what she said. So I think that's interesting too. Like, why is it that like the pirates are trying to kill him, but like they're going after him to arrest him if he's so dangerous? And they said there's kids on board, so they didn't try to shoot it down.
Yeah.
But the way that she framed when they said hold him off, and I think she was talking to a woman who might be the Jedi we referred to, was like, you know, I want to help him. It's like just hold him there. Like, so there's an element of people out there that he's maybe not all bad. I know they didn't shoot the ship down or redact that because of the kids, but it sounded like Kim was trying to hold on to him to try to get him detained because somebody else was worried. So interested in that also.
What if somebody, like the one that they were talking to was somebody within the Republic that actually is like kind of like a secret backdoor and actually knows about and
could be.
Like that's just kind of the thought that just crossed my mind, honestly. So
I was just thinking, now that like we have like X-wings and whatnot on the mind, I'm like, what if like we could see like Hera could be in this, or like anyone could have.
He said
like,
no
little...
big cameos.
Well, so something too that about those.
Things.
Yeah. Well, something too about those X-wings that stuck out is they're the T-65 X-wings. They are not the T-70s like we see in the what is it? The Force Awakens. So this is still in that Mando era. That's kind of like confirmed that because they're still using T-65s.
I literally said to Liz when the cockpit popped open, I was like, I swear to God, if this is Carson Teva and we don't get a Black Series figure, I am going to lose my mind.
That's what I thought.
I really thought that was going to happen.
Wait, hold on. Can you tell me the difference between the T-65 and the T-70? This is like embarrassing that I don't know this, but
so the T-65 X-wing actually has full like. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it because I don't know the specific terms for it. But when the S-foils open up, there is 4 intakes on it, and for the engines. Now there is 4 engines on the T-70, but they have 2 intakes which split in half when they open up. Okay. And they are the T-70s are a much sleeker, smaller design than the T-65.
So interesting. Oh, I see. You know what's interesting about that? I think that the OG Kenner X-Wing, actually they split, if I remember correctly, the intakes, but I'm not sure. You have to go get my my Kenner toy from 1977 at my parents' house.
Being that I work in the Air Force, it's small things like that I notice because like
no, I love it. I never noticed.
Well, that just goes to show you like there's something for everyone to see in these too. You know? Like I'm sure there's plenty of people who see all sorts of things that we don't see.
Yeah, and for those of you guys who are listening or watching, if you caught some things like maybe we didn't see or discuss, by all means, drop it down in the comments. We'd love to talk about it next episode. But with that, I think we can wrap up this episode with our typical ratings. And I will let you two go first. Anthony, why don't you lead it off?
For me, I think this is solid 9. Like, I enjoyed everything about it. I thought it was a straight up thrill. For me, the first 2 episodes packed just a little bit more of a punch, and I think that's just because it is the experience of something new, just being such a bam in my face. But overall, I think like as we talked about, like they all flow together really well. Like the show so far, I would keep it at a 10. Like overall, but yeah, I love it.
Second highest rated show in Star Wars show on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
I mean,
that's awesome.
Good news.
That makes me happy. I just am glad people are enjoying it.
I think it's got a good fan. I think it's got a good fan response too, if I remember correctly. Like,
I think so too.
So like, I think it's like, all right, you want me to go?
It's your turn,
go,
brother.
Buddy, go.
I think for me 9.5, a little higher than Ant's. Not to knock Ant, but I just the reason. I mean, so here's the thing. If I'm tempering sort of like how I'm reviewing this, last week was really a 10 because it was like something new, and I was so excited. And I hold to my 10 for both episodes. Like Ant said, I'm gonna do this at like a 9.5 because the enthusiasm has waned a little. But I will say this: we always go back and rethink it as we revisit the show. This may become a 10. The one thing I'll say about this episode for me is I watched last week's 2 episodes like maybe twice after it aired. This one I could see myself watching a bunch of times before.
I
next
thought
week
the same thing
because I had so much fun. But it's like kind of saying it's a 10 is tough because last week
making me want to switch to a 10.
No, this is 9. You're done. You're done. You chose the 9. I'll let you.
Stop trying to be cool.
You have to
okay?
wait till at least. You have to wait till at least next week to change.
You're just selling it, man. You're selling it.
Yeah, no, 9.5. But that's my thing. I think I'm gonna watch. You know what? I'm gonna say 10. I really like. Well, I didn't want to seem like a weenie, but you can have a 10 too. You can have a 10, and you can have a 10. I don't want to sound like a weenie for giving the first 3 episodes a score 30, highest possible score. But this is like. I just like last week smiling ear to ear, but this I had so much fun. Like last week I loved, and I think the first episode was great, but because I knew there was a second episode, there was a little bit more of that element of like how much more time do we have?
Right.
But this week, and I love that, but I didn't want last week to end because I knew it was going to end and I wasn't going to find out what happened next until for a week. This one, I just didn't want it to end. I was having such a good time watching it that I felt a little like, I was like, oh, just let me live. I wasn't even thinking about next week. I was like, just let me live here a little longer and let me be here. All of my problems have melted away with this delightful owl woman.
I'm gonna tell you this much. For me, I was pretty critical with my first one, and the reason was being because we've talked about it before. I don't like to give big scores right off the get-go because I think they're like, especially with this show, I felt like there was a lot more better stuff coming. So I did an 8.5 last week. It was more towards the 8.75 type of range, I think, realistically. But this one for me, this was an easy 9, maybe 9.5. Like I loved this episode. It was just so much fun. The Easter eggs hit hard, like so much fun. And there was just so much good stuff in it. The action
level Easter.
Yeah, honestly, like it was fun. It was adventurous. There was good action. Graphics were through the freaking roof, and then honestly, it was just had some really funny, amazing moments. So for me, it was an easy 9, potentially 9.5 if I revisit it.
Well, by the rules that we're going with tonight, you can revisit that in about 30 seconds, and that's going to be okay.
Yeah. I would love it if at some point in this podcast people were like, Matt and Ant changed their scores. Like your vote has been cast.
Well, here's the thing. When you were talking, I was like thinking in my head, I wanted to say, well, I can't think of a single thing wrong with the episode. I'm like, well, dummy,
that's what I'm
saying. If you can't think of a single thing wrong, then it's a 10.
It's a 10. That's how I feel about it. There's nothing I would change.
So I have that same view where there's nothing I would change. I know for me, I just save that 10 for the ones that are going to really slap, honestly. That's where I save it.
No, I hear you. For me, I don't want to be a boy who cried 10, but I've said it before. I'll say it a million times. I'm sorry that I just love things so easily, but I do. They're all 10s for me.
But I think you said it the absolute best. I think like if there's nothing I would change, for me that's a 10. Anything else for me is sort of just like I think one of the biggest 10s we ever gave, Eric and I, was the Asajj Ventress season 3 episode.
I remember that
because that's like a pure 10 where there's nothing I would change. I was way harsh on the last couple episodes of Bad Batch, so I can't be not harsh. I give really bad scores, but like for me, because there's stuff I would have changed. This like Acolyte, I mean, I would have taken out the entire.
Okay, we're not talking about it.
I know what I'm saying, but like for me, like those are things I would have changed. I didn't like what they did, but like there was no moment in this where I was like, oh, like even like the way you didn't see how he escaped and got into the little ferry thing, like if this show wasn't executed so well, I would be like, I got gypped out of a blaster fight. But I didn't feel that way when I was watching it. And we all know I don't like getting gypped out of blaster fights. But like, so that's 10.
Yeah, I do need to say one last thing, and that is that I am really glad that they revealed his name to be Crimson Jack for one more reason, and that is because I think a lot of times with us Star Wars fans, we get so caught up in what we want to happen that we don't enjoy what's actually happening.
I agree.
And now, instead of having a reveal on like episode 6 or 7, where you've basically wasted potentially a whole season, like anticipating what you want to happen will happen, and it doesn't happen, then you're probably not going to like that show a whole lot. Or at least have some misgivings. So now it's like it's on the table. We've got 5 episodes left. Like it's not corn
they're giving
horn.
you a little bit. Giving you a little bit each episode. Yeah, it's not corn horn. Dang.
No, I had a lot of. I had
a
a few friends out there who were pretty convinced, including Ari was on board, I think. And they were like, yeah, it's corn horn, and I'm like, corn horn who?
Horn. Anyways, but honestly, guys, I think we hit it hard with this episode, and we loved every second of it. So it's time to move on to this week's Gift the Galaxy, which I know we talked a little bit about it today. Matt, I know you were slightly disappointed, but I personally was.
No, I was saying I've been disappointed. This one, I was very excited about.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
We like excited.
Yeah, so this one, yes. So for this one, the first reveal we got was the Shadows of the Empire Black Series 2-pack of Leia and Luke. Leia in the Bausch disguise and Luke in the, what the hell is it called again? The Imperial Guard armor.
Yeah.
So yeah, I couldn't remember if it was Crimson Guard or whatever. But yeah, honestly, I've said it before, man, and this kind of is like leaning me towards this, where with them bringing these Shadows of the Empire Black Series, I love it because I grew up playing with these action figures when I was like freaking 9 years old, dude. I was like, Shadows of the Empire is the video game I probably played the most when I was playing on N64, and I am so hoping that we get a remastered re-release of that.
I would buy a system for that.
Yes,
I would buy a system for that. I'm like, honestly, like I was funny, like I already have that Leia. Again, I like the hostage packaging.
It's a different mold though.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. But also, like, what I like about it is that Luke looks fantastic. It looks like a lot of new pieces put in on that. And when I was a kid, I remember it was so funny because I think the Luke figure looks like this too. It was way too tall to be Luke, that action figure, and it looks like they were living up to that.
Mark Hamill's like 5'5" or something like that.
But I like that because with the helmet on, it's a troop builder. Now, I normally, if this had been single packed, would have done a troop builder. I can't justify that expense with the Leia figure, but we know the Praetorian Guards are coming out, so I feel better about that.
Yes.
But I'm super excited to display it. It has the right weapon from when we were kids. Like, the whole deal, like, this is just like... And we know what we're all heading for. My vote next week is a Snuva Rendar 2-pack, and I'm going to tell you right now, that is a 2-pack I will buy 2 of. Because when it comes to Dash...
Because you're going to get
I don't think we're going to get it in 2-pack.
I hope it's not, because buy 2. I'm buying 2. It saves me money. I need 2 Dash Rendars. One for my shelf, one for myself. So that is what's going to happen there.
I don't think we'll get it in 2-packs. I think the Chewy Snuva disguise is going to be like kind of like a deluxe one almost, like that, a little bit bigger. So, but that's my take on it at least.
I'm good. That would be even better. But that is the most a Dash Rendar figure. Like if we are talking about that next week on Tuesday, I might cry tears that are not as fake as one of the main commentators on YouTube. I want to take a pot shot who does crocodile tears. Everybody knows most of us hate him. But I will cry tears of joy for that Dash Rendar figure.
I still remember playing with that when I was a kid, dude.
Me too. I remember when I got it at Toys R Us. It was the last one they had. It was the day it came out. One of my friends happened to be there that morning and called me. And having an updated Dash Rendar figure is just...
2,000 years later.
Hey folks, sorry about that. Had some technical difficulties, so we're kind of starting back from a point that we left off at. But yeah, the getting that Dash Rendar figure is going to be awesome, guys. I definitely cannot wait for that. So, but moving on, we had the TVC reveal.
I was actually really excited about the TVC reveal.
Yes.
And I don't even collect TVC.
Yeah, honestly, like, I don't collect much of the multi-packs, but that one looks awesome, dude. The Jorah Sabaoth on it looks super dope, like, very detailed. Getting Captain Paleon in there, which you probably if you don't know Heir to the Empire, you recognize him from the Shadow Council, probably during Mandalorian. And then getting Thrawn with the Islamiri in TVC is super cool.
And he had the, I had to double check, he has even more cool-looking pauldrons going on.
I noticed that.
They're
I
on
think it
this?
might be because of
Yeah.
the Islamiri.
Yeah, I think so.
I gotta
too.
look at that again. Oh, yeah, I did
Yeah,
not
they're
realize
different. They're much more pirate-like pauldrons.
Yes. But
One of my that might be how it looked in the art on the cover of the comic. If you go back, or maybe it was on the cover of the book too. But I think that's from the comic.
yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too. I think it was from that actually, but either way, super excited for both of these reveals. They look amazing. Can't wait to see them in person, honestly. So, but
Give me
talking
one
about seeing in person, we now get to move into our collector's corner. Anthony had to dip out for a second, guys. So for those of you listening or watching,
I think he's getting his collector's corner item.
Yes,
and
he
also
is.
and also in a fist fight, apparently.
It sounds like it, but I'll go first because I'm actually super excited
Yeah,
for mine.
go for it.
Mine was a big deal for me because this is the first multi-pack I ever got, and thankfully our friends at the Star Wars _ toy collector on Instagram hooked me up with it and put it out on their page, and it is this right here. Sorry for the glare.
Nice.
It is the Night Trooper and Enoch 2-pack. So, and like I said, this one was like a big deal for me because it was the first multi-pack, and like they had it for $20, dude. And this thing I think initially was like 45 or 50 bucks,
It was.
something like that.
Yes.
But yeah,
That's what Matt and I paid.
Just when you said that to me. But here's the thing: I would rather pay full price than risk not being able to get it. All right, guys.
Undoubtedly.
They photograph great. I know you don't open your stuff, but if you
Yeah.
ever want to get a second pack, they are super fun figures to
I
photograph.
could tell
I've
from the
already
way
done
they
a
look,
couple
they
of them.
photograph
Yeah.
very well. So, but that was
Yeah,
mine.
no,
Nothing.
I had to,
Nothing's new.
Step away. I had some dogs that were whining because their gate was shut. But no, that.
But anyways,
Step back real quick though to that TVC release with Jorah. That's what I wish we would have gotten for Black Series, and the reason is because I do like the Luke character, but the other two, like, I don't need them more. I don't need them. I already have them. Some multiples.
I'm fair.
But so TVC collectors, I'm excited for you.
Yeah,
definitely, man.
I know my buddy didn't love it because we just got an Imperial Officer pack and with the Palion thing, but neither here nor there. I mean, I think I'm excited for the TVC collectors that are excited, and I will accept that I got 2 figures already owned in the 4-pack. It's a price I'm willing to pay for George Sabawoth.
If one of their arms snaps in half, you'll have an extra.
yes,
Or just because I'm a psycho. Yeah.
But anyways, Ant, since you up, brother, why don't you go ahead and show us what your collector's corner was?
All right, today I'm going to go back in time to the summer of 2022. 2022. Yep. That's what I got this year figure.
Ooh.
Sergeant Creel.
I love that
I was
figure.
just looking at the Scar Squadron stuff today, actually.
Oh, I love that figure. I love that. I loved him in the comics. Like I saw him
Empty.
I read the
It is
issues
empty.
with him.
What if-
Yeah,
what
he
do
got
I
it from
call it?
Amazon. He ordered it from Amazon. No, but
So
I loved when I discovered him in the comics. Like he was so cool. Go on, Ant. Sorry.
I never knew anything about this character, and my brother Ari actually introduced him to me. And it was kind of when I first started collecting Black Series. I really only had Mandalorian figures, not the Mandalorian, but Mandalorian figures at the time. And he was like, "Oh yeah, you could." He sent me a link to this guy in Hasbro Pulse, and I'm like, "What the hell is Hasbro Pulse?"
Yeah.
And then the door opened.
How things have
First
changed.
figure I ever bought off Hasbro Pulse right here.
Nice.
And I love to photograph this figure. First of all, he's a stormtrooper who wields a lightsaber. I mean, that's pretty bad.
Great backstory for that.
Second of all, why can we not get a show or a movie about this guy's squadron? Like,
Yeah.
It's Scar Squadron, right?
It's
And
Scar
they're
Squadron,
they're also 66, I think, right?
yep.
They're basically the
So-
like Imperial version of Bad
Bad
Batch.
Yeah, so he's got, I mean, the figure is really cool. He's got all sorts of additional accessories. And my favorite part about him, which is this little
Yeah.
blue thing. I don't know what it's called. I just
think
love
it's
that
like a
it's
hologram.
blue.
Right? Yeah.
It's a compad.
And it really photographs well. It's fun. So
Hell yeah.
I love that figure, and I was really pumped when they came out with his buddy. Maybe I'll pop that one up next
They need to make
time.
the rest of them, honestly, because I think they
Yeah,
only
there's
got
one
the
that's
two.
like
I love the one with the
basically-
robot arm and the knives. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's like a wrecker looking one.
Yeah.
The one that has the sniper with like the cowl on looks super fucking cool.
I love how we all have a favorite, but they're all awesome. But yeah, I mean, definitely. people
Hasbro,
don't
do your
really-
work.
Yeah,
Yep.
Definitely for people that don't have the comic, haven't read the comics, like that's in the first volume of Star Wars that started in like 2015 or 16. Definitely check that out. It's really you'll find them throughout. They're great.
Yep.
Well, hell yeah. I think he's an awesome figure, and if you don't own him, you should.
Him.
All right, Matty Ice, what do you got for us?
So I was like, I didn't really prepare too well, but then I had a stroke of genius while looking at my shelf behind me, watching Skeleton Crew, and I was in the mood to show a scoundrel. So I'm going to show you all Tobias Beckett.
Oh, yeah.
I love this
dude.
figure. I feel like this figure does not get enough love from photographers,
I don't
from
think
people
his
talking
character gets enough love, honestly.
Yeah, it's an amazing character. I was bummed he died so quickly in Solo, but
Yeah, me too.
Well, not quickly at the end, but like from a story standpoint. But it's such a cool figure, and I remember in Solo, I just love the like revolver blasters that he has, and like I remember looking up how they load, and they have like cylinders that go in. That's their charge pack in the middle, because it really bothered me. I'm like, are they one shot? No, but so like,
They went
no,
into
they're not. I saw
muskets
the
yet.
movie. Yeah, no, but this was, right. But this figure, I just love it. I feel like not enough people talk about how great the figure is. Even just one more time on screen for Tobias Beckett, it's a really good, like, at the beginning of them doing the scans, was this line of Solo figures.
Yeah.
This is probably, like, maybe the 10th figure I ever bought. Because I was collecting that 4-inch 5 POA line until around when Solo came out. And then I bought, Han and Bespin came out, and then Young Han came out, I think, a little before that. So I was just really excited to start getting more Han figures. And I was like, when I saw Solo, like, this was, like I said, in about 2019, I think I only owned like 15 figures. And then my buddy and I got super into it during COVID, like we all did, and just started like buying everything.
Seems to be the trend.
Yeah. COVID
no
cost
doubt.
us tens
Well,
of
that's an
thousands
awesome
of
figure.
dollars.
You make me
Yes,
want to
probably.
photograph him. I'm probably going to
I had a cool idea. Do you want to do a Beckett collab?
Yeah.
I have a cool idea. We'll talk about this
sold.
offline. Maybe we can do a Matt and Ann collab. Yeah.
All right,
I have
guys.
a cool idea.
Well, we are going to wrap it up here because we've been going for a hot minute now. So we had a great talk about Skeleton Crew. I'm so stoked for next week. Great talk with Gift the Galaxy. Super stoked for those. And our Collector's Corners slapping today. So, so for those of you guys who are watching or listening, we just want to take a quick moment and say thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate you guys stopping in and hanging out for a couple minutes, listening to us talk just about the stuff that the recent stuff coming out and everything. So if you guys want to, you can check us out on Sith Happens _Star Wars podcast on Instagram. And I say if you want to, but really I'm telling you, please go do that. And on there you can find us. You can go find us on there and follow all of our various links. Sign us off, guys.
Ann, you want to go first, buddy?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you said it well there, my friend, and it's been great talking about another episode of just phenomenal Star Wars. I mean, honestly, some stuff that it makes me think, like, it makes me rethink the order I'll show my son. I'm like, should I just start with this? Like, this will grasp
I think it's a
young
good
lens.
entry point.
So, anyways, awesome talking, guys, tonight. As always, thank you to all of our listeners there. Sorry for my technical difficulties, and we'll see you next time.
And I will just say it's been a blast talking about this with you guys. I think we're going to continue to have these episodes run long. We're going to try not to, but we're just too excited. And with that said, I'm Black Series Daily Desk. Love spending time with my friends and letting you guys all listening to us. May the Force be with you always.
And I'm Dadalorian. Thank you guys for joining us today. This is the way.